Hey, I'm Steve Shipkowski and welcome to DXTV. Right now we're in the process of making Deus Ex Mankind Divided, and part of that process is trying to get it into people's hands for the very first time. So this is one of the most important milestones in the production of a game. We have a lot to show you today about what goes into making a first hands-on, including a sneak peek at some new locations. So make sure to stick around to the very end for the world premiere of our new trailer for Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
A first hands-on is actually the first time where we let the press play with the game. We give them the controller, and we have no control whatsoever on what they're going to do.
So with the hands-on, we have many journalists coming to the studio. So far, we've shown hands-off demo at E3 and Gamescom. It's been great, but with this one, people can actually test all the new gameplay features that we have for Mankind Divided.
For the first hands-on, there was a lot of aspects to look at. Everything comes into the game really quick, like a tsunami, and then we're sort of trying to manage our way through the tsunami and make everything work. It's a labor of love, but it's definitely as intense as it gets.
The 4 pillars for the Deus Ex experience are combat, stealth, hacking, and social. The first hands-on is built around that.
I like to say that the controller feels heavy in my hands because there's so many functionalities.
Now we have new augmentations that allow to explore a little bit more the verticality of the environment. So now you can climb higher, you can go into other areas that otherwise you wouldn't be able to do with just the jump or things like that.
We prepared 3 loadouts for the journalists. We have a combat loadout with a bit more aggressive augmentations and weapons. You have a stealth loadout and also a balanced loadout.
Kind of a mix of some offensive stuff, but also like some cloaking abilities. The stealth is fully invisible, long range, sniper stuff, gas grenades, things like that. And the combat is fully offensive stuff.
So with these 3 loadouts, we feel that you can really exploit the map in the way you want in kind of a true Deus Ex fashion.
The 2 maps that we have for the hands-on are Dubai and the Valley. Dubai is a little bit more guided. So it's kind of an introduction to all the things that Jensen can do now.
It's more about making you familiar with the new setting, the new mechanics, etc., etc.
So to talk a bit about the music in Dubai and the Valley sections, 2 completely polar opposite musical palettes. Dubai, obviously, it needs instrumentation that makes people automatically understand where they are in the location. The challenge is doing all that without it sounding generic and kind of cheesy cartoony. And then as far as Diwali, now we're moving into Prague, and we want to capture that feeling of the Diwali gangsters and really give the vibe and the music to where we are at that state of the game.
The second map is the total Deus Ex experience in the sense that you can do whatever you want and tackle it from any directions, from any angle.
So making this first hands-on is an extremely intense experience.
We sit down with some of the key people in the team in a very beautiful small amphitheater we have here, and we just play the game. We take notes about all the things that are not working.
For example, earlier this week, came into review very confident, started demo, and you realize that, there's a lot of work left. So it's kind of a roller coaster.
And as soon as we're out of the amphitheater, everybody goes back to their desk and try to nail all the problems we saw.
It's almost what I call a controlled chaos. The chaos is coming at us from all angles. It's in this chaos that you often see the cream rise to the top, and I can't say enough good things about my team and how hard they're working to deliver the best audio experience you could get.
We're doing some of the bug fixing that we would normally do a little bit later on in production, but it's a really exciting time as well because everything's coming together, people are buzzing around and trying to get stuff fixed up.
You're never ready for hands-on, but at some point you have to let it go.
At the end of the day, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing something that goes from barely not functioning to completely fun, polished experience, and that's what we hope we delivered to the journalists today. So you've now seen a bit of how much goes into making that hands-on demo that we're showing you. And right now, we're going to see the payoff of that work. Over 50 journalists from all around the world are about to start playing Mankind Divided. Why don't we go have a look and see how the event's going?
It's hands-on week. The journalists are in town. When you see them play, like they're taking their time, they're looking at everything, and they don't know the maps, and they're looking at the enemies, and in the end they play like at least 5 times longer than what we play ourselves. And when they do a mistake, they turn into John Rambo.
First map of the game, you have more the tutorial aspect, and it's a bit easier. But when you saw the journalists go into the Valley Theater, they thought they could play the same way, but that didn't work at all. They were getting, their ass kicked. So
I saw a guy like he emptied all of his weapons, then he's like throwing the grenades, it's still not working. Titan, run out of the room, no energy, no biocells, he's just surviving.
One journalist that was in the valley, and that was the big sentry robot that was chasing him, and he managed to remote hack him to disable him for a moment, but he did it in the frame of a door, and the guy couldn't, like, he was stuck behind it, and he was like, I cannot go through, so he was like, oh, and trying to find another way to get past the robot.
we don't have a lot of time left in front of us, so all the information that we get from days like this is very valuable for the team. Hopefully they like it. That's what we work really hard for.
So that's a wrap. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we hope you enjoyed seeing all that goes on behind the scenes. In a few days, you'll be able to read up on all the journalists' impressions of the game. And now, it's our pleasure to reveal to you our brand new Deus Ex Mankind Divided trailer. We hope you like it, and thank you as always for your continued support.